Hi, welcome everyone. This is Pandit Mohandan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Training, conducted by Ministry of Education. It's an online one-week faculty development program, and we are focused on the DTC transformation, which is data center, telecommunication, and communication, telco and communication. And what we have today is a session which is going to be presented by Praveen Bhatt. He's a senior consultant serving telco industry, focusing on Kubernetes VMware solution. He has 15 years of experience in multiple technologies, including Linux, SAN, virtualization, cloud, and SDN. He works for VMware and he has got some cool stuff to present. And we want that our teachers and research associates understand the importance of telco transformation. So with that introduction, welcome Praveen Bhatta to the uh, audience, which is uh, largely aware of things, most of the things, but they need a real industry exposure to telco transformation. Go ahead, take over from me. Thanks, Praveen.
Hey, thank you, Prakash. It is really a great opportunity for me to discuss on the telco transformation. Yeah, thanks for my introduction. And uh, yeah, today I'm going to talk about the basics of the telco industry, how it has actually transformed from uh, from the core or the core telco industry to the NFVA layer actually. Okay, so that's the whole importance of this discussion, and the reason why I got into this discussion is uh, I have heard many people that okay, they are though they wanted to get on to the telco industry and they wanted to understand how the telco industry works in the IT infrastructure, so they don't know where to start and how to start actually. So I'm trying to address that, and I also plan to give more sessions in future, okay, which will actually complement this discussion. So that's the whole intention of this actually. Okay, so coming to this, telco, the core telco. First, let us understand, okay, a few basics of telco industry, how it works, and on top of that, we will understand, how actually IT infrastructure is helping the industry, telco industry here. Okay, so let's assume that okay, you have a mobile device in your hand and you try to access or browse some internet, okay, or you are making some calls. So obviously what everybody knows is okay, it will connect to some antenna and from there it will go to a different target device, and that's how you get the services from there. So that everybody understands up to that point actually. Okay, but there is a lot of technology and a lot of innovation which actually works in behind that particular each and every packet which starts from your device and to which delivers at the target device actually. Okay, so me before understanding the actually how IT industry is into the picture, so let's understand how the call flow happens in the core telecom industry actually. Okay, so I do not wanted to focus majorly onto the 4G or 5G, but I will try to make it as generalized as possible. Okay, so that will be easy for everybody to understand. Okay, so let's assume that okay, you are connected to this particular antenna. Okay, so there are lot many devices as I'm showing in this picture. You have RU, okay, and you have CU and you have DU and onto the different data center actually. Okay, so that can be a froth hall or mid hall or back hall. Okay, so these are categorized into this according to the distance, and all these telco infrastructure is placed in these particular data centers actually. Okay, and the few abbreviations and the full forms which I mentioned here. Okay, so that will actually help you to understand how actually it happens. Okay, so yeah, next slide if you can go. Yeah. So here again the 4G and 5G, okay, there are some architectural changes and a lot of design changes which happened from 4G to 5G. Okay, so but as I mentioned, like let's take as an example. Okay, you have this EPC, that is evolved packet core, which comprised of multiple devices, that is MME, S gateway and P gateway. Okay, so this is one of the initial point where your signal is connected to, and the services will get started from there actually. Okay, so we generally call it as EPC. In the full form, we call it as Evolved Packet Core, and in that it has mobility management entity, and you have service gateway and the packet gateway. Okay, all these devices will actually serve your packet in one or the other way actually. Okay, so as I mentioned here, all those gray boxes are the legacy proprietary hardware, and all the blue boxes which are onto the open hardware platform. Okay, so what happens here is, if you see the one more example, if I can take an opportunity to talk, you have RUs here in the 5G, and the DU, okay, and the CU part actually, okay, which are connected to the 5G core. And from there you have cloud connected to it, so that your cloud is providing the required uh, compute and storage and the network capabilities to that particular environment, or to that particular calls and the data packets for each and every service what you are trying to get actually. Okay, so that is how your cloud or the IT infrastructure is coming into the picture here. And going forward in the next slides, I'm going to explain how your things are actually virtualized. Okay, so now since I explained about, I mean, since I briefly explained about what is MME or S gateway and P gateway or some of the telco devices, let's term it as a network function instead of saying it as a device. Okay, so I call that as a physical network function. And what happens here is, the functionality of that network function is actually uh, designed in such a way where that functionality can be kept inside a virtual machine, and that virtual machine will act like that particular telco network function. Okay, so that's how your VNF has come into the picture, virtual network function. Okay, so that's how your virtual network function has come into the picture, which it runs on any hypervisor. Okay, for example KVM and ESX from VMware. Okay, or you can call it as a vCenter. Okay, in the similar fashion, if your network function is containerized, okay, and we call it as CNF. Okay, so this is uh, here I'm trying to introduce the terminologies, so that you will understand slowly, you will understand what are the architectures are there behind this, and what all kind of innovation is happening on top of this actually. Okay, yeah, thank you. So here uh, eventually what happened was, uh, there is a standard which came into the picture. Okay, and that standard, we all the vendors, whoever designs this VNFs or CNFs or whatever the architectures what they are getting into the picture, okay, are getting aligned with one standard, and that is called ETSI standard. Okay, and ETSI is the European Telecommunication Standards and Institute, okay, which actually designed network function virtualization framework. Okay, so these are the terminologies which anybody should start from to understand how the telco industry works. Okay, so if let's understand how this ETSI works, and then we'll get into the some of the examples, or how the vendors and the different clouds, how these are getting in line with this ETSI architecture. Okay, so let's start from the basic. Okay, so you have these hardware resources, computing hardware, storage hardware, and network hardware. Okay, so compute hardware, obviously, yes, all these your compute cycles will be provided that you can take it as the hypervisor, and the storage hardware that can be your SAN device or that can be a virtual SAN device. Okay, yeah, and also you have this network hardware that can be from different vendors. Okay, so that can be over Cisco or Brocade or whatever. Okay, and on top of that you have this virtualization layer which will actually virtualize the underneath the physical components. Okay, which in fact which it is making as your virtual computing and the virtual storage and virtual networking. So this part I think most of us are already aware. Okay, this is actually complementing this NFV framework. Okay, so to manage this we have something called Vim layer, that is your virtual infrastructure manager. Okay, for example you have your OpenStack and you have your VMware, that can be your vCenter or that can be your VCD. Okay, and these are the few examples which I can, or VIO, which VMware integrated OpenStack. Okay, so these are the few Vim layers which I can give as an example, or Tanzu, if you ask me, like, okay, that is also one of the example for this Vim layers actually. Okay, which will interact with your NFVI virtualized infrastructure or the virtualization layer, and which will manage that. Okay, so that's how the basic layer has come up. Okay, and now let's understand the layer, the top of that layer actually. Okay, the ultimate purpose of bringing up this NFVI or Vim layers and this physical layer or whatever. Okay, the ultimate purpose of bringing up this is to host your VNFs and CNFs. Okay, as I mentioned, your virtual network function is nothing but it, which is a virtualized network function that can be, in a simple terms, if you talk about, it can be a simple firewall also. Okay, the physical firewall which is actually virtualized and kept it on top of your virtualized layer actually. Okay, and all your VNFs and CNFs are placed on top of this virtualization layer. Okay, and we will make that particular cycle to start working and serving the required traffic. Okay, for example, you are getting an traffic from your mobile which is connected to your antenna, and from there it is going to multiple devices. Okay, so those physical devices are virtualized and kept it here, and it is ultimately your traffic is coming to your VNFs and CNFs here. Okay, so here I also like to add one more point stating that managing this VNFs is also not a simple task actually. Okay, so the life cycle management of these VNFs also need huge effort. Okay, that can be upgrading your VNFs, or that can be removing the VNFs or CNFs, or you sometimes you might need to uh, uh, shut down your VNFs and bring up a new version of VNFs and all that stuff. So the life cycle management of VNFs also should be taken care when you are actually planning for your NFVA environment in your data centers. Okay, so for that purpose we have these VNF managers. Okay, so we have again multiple products which actually serves the purpose of this VNF manager. Okay, in as an example, I would say VMware TCA Telco Cloud Automation is one of the product which actually serves this, and you have Nokia CBAM. Okay, and those are all the few examples which I can give for the VNF manager actually. Okay, so and on top of this you have this orchestrator. Okay, this orchestrator will and can talk to your VNF managers and VNFs and Vim layers and all the available layers uh, to do the orchestration part for your deployments actually. So that is one more one more component which is included in this NFV architecture, okay, which facilitates the deployment uh, of your VNFs and making it working actually. Okay, so that's how your service chain also will happen. Okay, when I say service chain, the packet which comes from one device to the other device or the target device will go through multiple network functions in between, and that particular routing of that particular traffic will happen using your service chaining actually. Okay, so that's how your all these components will complement each other and try to make the function working in a proper manner actually. Okay, so apart from this, you have this OSS and BSS, which is onto the core telco part. Okay, and this orchestrator and VNF manager and Vim layer, okay, all together we call it as Mano. Okay, NFV management and orchestration. If you can make it as a shortcut, you can call it as Mano. Okay, yeah, so that's how the basics of this ETSI architecture. So again, I emphasize that if you want to understand how telco industry is working in your IT infrastructure, start with ETSI. Start by understanding ETSI architecture, and then get on to the any product level understanding actually. So that will definitely will help you to get on to the actual thing. Yeah. Yeah, sir. Prakash, sir, can you go on to the next slide, please?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. So, yes, here the one, if I can correlate this OpenStack architecture with the previous slide, that is ETSI architecture. So below you have the Vim layer, that is your KVM OVS is the Open Virtual Standard Switch, and you have the storage part. Okay, and on top of that you have the compute networking, and yeah, obviously your compute is being served by your OpenStack compute service, and networking is being served by your Neutron service, or if it is integrated with software defined networking, and then yes, your software defined networking also can actually be part of this. And you have the different storage solutions from the OpenStack, and that particular solutions also can be integrated with your OpenStack. And telemetry is one more service which is being provided by your OpenStack to for billing purposes actually. And on top of this, the VNFs or the CNFs will be deployed, and you have all these the Mano products which can be integrated with the OpenStack. So that is the beauty of the OpenStack, where since it is an open source, so you can design your own custom level services also actually here. Yeah. Yeah, in the next slide, yes. So in the next slide, I would like to, give us one more example, that NFVI with VMware. Okay. In the similar fashion, which I explained for OpenStack, just to correlate this also with ETSI architecture. Okay. Where underneath you have physical compute, physical storage, and physical networking, and on top of that you have virtualization layer, and from this virtualization layer from this virtualization layer you have this virtual compute, that is your ESXi, and virtual storage vSAN, and virtual networking, that is NSX. Here it is mentioned as NSX for vSphere, but the latest version we have NSXT also. Okay, and yeah, I mean this picture will give better example for that ETSI architecture. Okay, under this Mano you have this vcloud director as part of this can be treated as your Vim, that is your virtualized infrastructure manager, and you can also provide this Vim by using your vCenter. Okay, and you have this NSX manager where it will actually help you to design your networking for your telco infrastructure actually. Okay, and on top of that, yes, you can host your VNFs, which will be provided by the vendors. Okay, I will take one more opportunity to to mention few of the VNF vendors that is your Ericsson or Nokia or Altio Star. Okay, and lot many VNF vendors are there. Okay, so you can deploy those VNFs on top of this Vim layer, and the respective VNF manager also will help you to do the lifecycle management of all these VNFs actually. Okay, and yes, as part of your NFV orchestrator, VMware also provides a lot of other tools or the other products, okay, which are part of your vRelay stack. Okay, so technically, on the telco terminologies, they also come up with products called Telco Cloud Automation and Telco Cloud Operations Manager. Okay, whatever the vRealize products, whichever I'm showing it here, so those are customized for the telco customers actually, and we call it as Telco Cloud Operations, Telco Cloud Automation and all actually. Okay, yes, yeah. Can you go to the next slide? Yeah. So this is one more slide which I wanted to, discuss, which will show you the with the vendors actually. Okay. So it is the same architecture which I want you guys to inline. Okay. So if you see the top, it is the ETSI logo, ETSI logo, which says that okay, these are all the VNFs or the CNFs that can be your MME, S gateway or P gateway. If you can recollect one of the initial slide, which I spoke about the S gateway and P gateway, that is your service gateway or the packet gateway. Okay, and there are some other VNFs also here that which is part of your mobilium, and you have the firewall that is from Fortinet, and you have HSS. This is one more subscriber VNF which is deployed on top of this actually. So here your Vim is your KVM and Open vSwitch. Okay, and underneath you have this hardware that is your storage and compute powered by your Intel, and you have this Mano also, which is there on your right side of this particular architecture actually. Okay, yeah, this is again, this slide should be complementing your previous slides actually. Yeah, yeah, next slide please. Yeah, okay. So any questions? Yeah, I will
Yeah.
give the yeah, yeah, please.
Yeah, Praveen, thank you for the presentation. Let's go into the Q&A session, and
Yeah,
the audience ask you questions, and we can then
yeah,
complete the whole session. Okay. And
yeah.
hell, well, thanks, Praveen, and everyone. Please go ahead. If you have any questions, please ask immediately, or just put it in the chat window, and we'll answer your question and answer. Thank you.